Get mantra and meditation MP3s at JasonGallant.ca. Not everybody is ready for enlightenment. Not because they're not capable of realization of some sort or moving in that direction, but because they still believe in immediate gratification and the impulses which move through the ego, which says desire and fear is the truth. So until they've come to the realization that there's something beyond desire and fear, and ask themselves this question, what is that? What is the secret to life, existence? Who am I really? If those questions have never been asked, then most often the person is not ready for enlightenment, or at least they're not interested in it, which is funny sometimes because in the end, life is really moving you towards enlightenment anyway, regardless of whether you accept that fact or not. It could be a slow process or a long process. But in the end, wisdom is gained. I mean, every one of you would agree with me if I say, you know things now that you didn't know 20 years ago. There are certain truths that are so obvious to you now, which were not so obvious a long time ago. And this is proof that some wisdom has been gathered in this time that you have spent here, in this existence called Earth, or this place, right? So the thing is about ego, the thing is about identification with mind, is that a prison becomes comfortable for one who has lived in it for a long time. And it's quite common for one who is very familiar and comfortable in a prison to resist freedom, to resist the unfamiliar, because what does that represent? It represents the unknown. It represents fear. It represents danger to the ego because there's no control. How can you control something that you don't know anything about? So until one is realizing the limitation of a prison, until one is done with that prison, they will not be ready to seek the unknown, because the unknown is quite scary at first, to the ego at least. Of course, many of you know that when you dare to surrender to the fear that comes up, then freedom and a beautiful fulfillment awaits for you, if you dare to face that fear. But at first, the prison is just comfortable enough. I think I'll just settle here for now. So I guess one could say that the enlightenment path begins when one has broken the attachment to the prison, the attachment to the comfort of limitation and imprisonment. The imprisonment in mind, the imprisonment in identification of ideas instead of your true identity, which is universal. So this is the funny thing about people who are embarking on some sort of truth journey. They make incredible realizations, and then of course they want to share them with their friends, the people they've known their whole life. And then of course they encounter the resistance, right? People are like, you're crazy, what's wrong with you, you know? This is the way it's always been. How dare you say anything outside of what you used to be? How dare you come up with new ideas, right? New ideas on happiness and fulfillment. How dare you, you know? Everybody knows that You know, this and this is the secret to life, and that's it, you know. Get a house, get a job, get money, like whatever it is that the person is living in, they will say that is it. As long as they're afraid of the unknown. So one thing that will give you a little bit of optimism as you embrace deeper truths within yourself is that your job isn't always to share what you realize. Because really, if you become something, if you're more fulfilled, there won't be so much of a desire or a fear to convert everybody to your new realization, right? You're free, like, you know, you're kind of neutral. People can live their life, you can live your life. That's it. But know this, and this is the disclaimer. As you become part of the beyond the mind, as you become deeper layers of the infinite you, you surrender the old you and you fall into the infinite you. Everyone and everything is affected by this universal consciousness. Everyone. Just a small piece of this intelligence that then threads through you. You become a walking information grid. Some of you may feel some of that grid when you tap into these videos and you watch me speak about it. There may be realizations that come to you that you've always known, but you weren't quite honed into until I say a few words, and then you're like, oh my God, it makes sense. I kind of knew this, and Jason just plopped me right deep into that realization. You see, the truth doesn't need to be made up. It just needs to be reminded or reinforced in people who have been caught in the prison for a long time. It's like being stuck in a room and you forget what the outdoors look like. Then somebody breaks you out of the prison and you're like, oh, wait a second, I kind of remember, that's a tree. I think that's called a tree. That's really what spiritual teachers do. They anchor themselves into this and just remind you of that this that is also within you. This way you're no longer living in the balloon of the mind. In ideas, you become grounded. You remind yourself that here is where you exist. Here is where existence is. Not in your thoughts. We know the insanity that is in the world right now. It's getting so obvious now. I think I am this and therefore I must be that. No, that's not true. I can think I'm a whale, but that doesn't make me a whale. Who you are has nothing to do with thought. It's what you naturally fall back into when you are not thinking, when you're just here. It's utter simplicity. And this is where your freedom is. If you're one of the special few who is truly seeking this, embrace it. Commit yourself to it. You have permission to not fall into the multitudes of illusions flying around you. Embrace this, the existence itself. This remembrance has everything you need and will bring you newfound wisdom and realization at a lightning pace. So as the world shifts and changes, you will be more able to make the proper decisions that are right for you in any one instant. It's like having your fingers on the pulse of the universe. And also remember, as you are here, suffering may come up. Shame, worry, fear, anxiety, all of these things. But realize they're just like the wind, they just pass through you. Let go of any story you're attaching to them, and then you will become more deeply intimate with here, because you've passed the test. You've chosen connection over following discomfort. Many people feel anxiety and then they disconnect from their life. They're like, I don't want to feel that. I don't want to feel anxiety, so I'll disconnect from anything that may be causing it, or I'll just disconnect from feeling things. I'm saying don't do that. Embrace. Embrace the unconditional. If the universe is unconditional, all things must flow through it. And every time you have the courage to do so, greater gifts will come to you. So I hope this helps you on your spiritual journey. Take care for now. Are you interested in working with a spiritual teacher in a formal setting? Well, perhaps the Wisdom Life School is for you. If you're interested in checking out what the Wisdom Life School is all about, just go to aratima.com.